right, my friends, he is still in Spain, about to leave. Bilderberg officially ended yesterday, but now we have a reporter on from American Free Press. He's also deputy editor who can recap what happened Friday evening, Saturday, and Sunday. We got Charlie Skelton popping in for about 10 minutes at the bottom of the hour. London Guardian reporter, he reports he's now been detained. He was inside right before they shut the resort down and got the intel that they were really threatened, that a lot of members didn't show up. They were particularly scared of yours truly from my bullhorning of them, and that they said that, well, that's why our welfare state is too big. We need to make the public so poor they can't afford to even come to these events. See, that's why they want to bankrupt society. So you're so poor, you're literally starving to death so the Bilderberg group can fly around above you in their jet aircraft like they're God. It's in Bloomberg. It's all over U.S. news. It's all over foreign news. I have to say this is the biggest rout in Bilderberg history. Jim Tucker agreed when he was on Friday. He's already flying back to the U.S. He's going to be on for a full report later in the week, our final report on Bilderberg until next year. We also have the fact that Bill Gates was there. Other people were there. The news is reporting, Bloomberg is reporting that Bernanke didn't show up, but our intel is that he was there. I know Bernanke was there in 2006 and 2008, of course, chairman of the Federal Reserve. But the bad news is the majority of them for the first time are greenlighting an attack on Iran. That doesn't mean it's 100%, but it's all going in that direction. And, of course, Tucker in 2002 said the attack won't be in '02 when the media was saying it would be, including the Washington Post. He said Donald Graham, the publisher, was there. It's going to be March of '03. He said that over a year before. He was correct. And so the fact that Iran is green-lighted is very, very scary. To give us the latest developments and go over those points I just made is Mark Anderson of AmericanFreePress.net. Mark, thanks for coming on with us.
You're welcome, Alex. It's been a very interesting last 24 hours in particular. The route that you're talking about, I believe you mean how they were kind of smoked out of here in a way. The understanding from talking to the hotel repeatedly, badgering them for press conferences, badgering them for information, not letting up one bit, was that you couldn't get in there publicly in the Dolce Hotel till today at noon. Well, they were gone out of here yesterday evening. And the meeting was really supposed to last until this morning. Traditionally, according to my colleague Jim Tucker, they always have their Monday breakfast before they depart. I think they were the last man standing, the last Bilderberg out of here was probably maybe 9 p.m. last night. And I talked to a lot of different
Was that
people.
Etienne Davignon?
I'm sorry?
Who was the last to leave?
Oh, I don't know specifically. I just know that it seems that all the publicity just kind of made them turn tail and run a little bit. Maybe not in a fleeing fashion. I'm not going to say they fled, but I think it just got a little too inhospitable for
Well, by
them.
route, their entire agenda's in trouble. They're now all over the newspapers worldwide. The Drudge Report every day. The Bloomberg's going, okay, there is a global government. Okay, this is suspicious. You know, where were you, Bernanke? Obama's their puppet. That's in the news. Tucker said that Bilderberg sources told him that one Bilderberg group member said, we're about whipped on climate change taxes, but their ace in the hole is starting World War III.
Well, what you said about Iran certainly rings pretty true. Just how close they are to that is very difficult to say. Bill Gates' appearance here brought about some confirmation that he was here under one guise, but his actual reason for being here was to try and sell Zapatero, the Spanish prime minister who gave the opening address, like most nationals do that host the meetings, try and sell him on the green tax, I think otherwise known as the carbon tax. And that could drastically drive up energy costs and lead to this impoverishment you were referring to.
Exactly, and we know Greece was the first to adopt the green jobs that take 2 jobs for every new job, and even the Spanish leaders have said that was the coup de grace that killed their economy.
Yeah, so it seems Bill Gates used a disingenuous excuse to get here just to generally counsel the PM on the economy, but it was specifically about that tax. Barcelona, June 5th, Saturday, 1,000 anti-Israeli marchers on the flotilla thing, but 200 anti-Bilderberg marchers joined them. 1,200 people in the center of Barcelona.
Absolutely amazing. What about Jim's intel? Because I know you went with him. Anything else that he said about the fact that one of the Bilderberg members said we're about whipped on the carbon tax?
Well, I don't know about that one. I would be less than honest if I could answer that one, if I tried to answer that definitively. All I know is Gates was here to discuss it, but where they went on that, I don't know. I think part of the situation where it seems they really had to rush through their business and kind of get out of here, maybe they left some unfinished business or some loose ends. At any rate, that some other miscellaneous came through. They spent just about $2 million on renting the place and for all their executive chefs every night and all sorts of about 600 to 800,000 euro for just their security. Supposedly the Spanish taxpayers don't have to pick all that up. It's reimbursed. So that's just some miscellaneous matters. But everything's just kind of coming together plank by plank here. But the real story here in the brief time we have is that the media attention was so great that I think they really had to kind of abbreviate everything and get on out of here. They know they're not welcome. It's an inhospitable place, perhaps anywhere they'll go now. I think the bottom line is that the news doesn't remain a flash in the pan or doesn't be too sporadic, but becomes long-term, sustained coverage of what they're doing. And that's a critical point for independent media and regular media.
Well, yeah, Paul Dornanu of Romania brought this up. He said that he's talked to Dutch and others that say they've been to the steering committees that only have 20, 30 members of Bilderberg. We know Bilderberg does have those steering committee hearings. Sometimes they have them at Trilateral Commission meetings. The good news is we now see people going to the Trilateral meetings, the CFR meetings, all of the sub-meetings.
Yes, that's right. And the former Spanish PM spoke to the Chicago Council on Global Affairs that I covered, and he said some things that kind of laid some hints for here, and that was back in April, and he's Jose Aznar, I don't remember his full name, but he had said some things about that they might have to back off on trying to dictate to all the European nations every last thread of their existence. I think they're sensing that that maybe they're going to have to soften their steps a little bit, but it's hard. These people speak in codes. One level for public consumption, then they speak in another level for their own brethren. So it's really a kind of a translation job when these globalists start talking.
Well, I noticed that Saturday and Sunday I saw reports of more nations support sanctions or blockade on Iran. So we saw the drumbeat for war with Iran intensify after Bilderberg. Here's one out of the Canadian news, Globe and Mail. Canada wins key fight against bank tax. Canada has won a key fight in its high-profile international campaign against a global bank tax. So countries have to win fights just to have their sovereignty. So Canada's won a key fight in its high-profile international campaign against a global tax as G20 finance ministers Saturday approved a plan that allows countries to manage and issue as they see fit. Isn't it nice that the G20 will allow us to have our own affairs, Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, that's the thing among the Spanish citizenry here and among the shopkeepers. That's what they, above and beyond the secrecy of Bilderberg and what are they doing in our country and what's going on, they kind of sense this condescension. There they are at the Hotel Dolce up on the Ivory Tower Hill looking down upon the city. The metaphor is unmistakable, and they sense that there's this kind of papering over of their sovereignty and to sort of override their local control. Even the local governor, I'm told by a pretty good source, Spain has like 8 provinces. One of them is Catalonia, where I'm at, and that governor or president of this province also was reportedly at Bilderberg. And so this is a local that should be fighting this breach of sovereignty who instead is going to the meeting.
Disgusting. We've only got about 2 minutes left with Mark Anderson of AmericanFreePress.net. Any other key intel that's come out of the meeting?
Well, a lot of things are still falling into place. As I say, they kind of turned tailed and run. Iran, rather, excuse me. I think that we're pretty square on the Iran thing being a high priority. They keep trying to say that a country with not a single operational nuclear weapon is a nuclear threat, when other nations, Israel on up, have plenty. Then you have the economic thing, the carbon green tax that could hurt any country and its consumers. And, you know, right on down the list with their IMF as a world treasury. You know, there was the big marches, all the awareness going on. I mentioned the Barcelona.
What about arrest and people being detained? That came out in The Guardian that did happen on Friday and Saturday.
Well, from what I saw, and I got to say it was a little bit limited because I was partially in the field, partially at headquarters, if you will. I didn't see a lot of that, and I didn't hear a lot of it. I think it was relatively brief and relatively limited.
So a lot more limited than Greece, where they went hog wild last year.